maybe caught the middle of that, here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits. It was episode 5 of season 9 for Suits and episode 5 of season 1 for Pearson. And I don't know, Shane, I feel like it was a little more seamless than last week. It's still a little bit new, it's still a little bit different, but I think once we're actually to the end of this show, we'll be pretty used to this whole recording platform thing. We are, again, recording through stage 10, and I have half a head.
Sorry, I had a weird thing happen. I'm going to close a bunch of tabs out. What did I think about which episode?
So,
Suits or Pearson?
both of them. So, we'll be rating the Suits episode and the Pearson episode. You usually rate them on separate scales, so they're both usually a little bit different to you. And I know for me, they were ranking a little bit different this week. Those of you joining us well in the chat, feel free to rate tonight's episode on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being you didn't care for them so much, and 5 being you loved them, and it can be separate per episode. Shana, how are you feeling? If we closed out all of the offending and reverberating tabs, and we're here now and can rank.
Um, I think it's a little bit unfair for me, but I have a much better idea of kind of where this episode of Pearson fits into the season at large, because I have seen the rest now. I'd say it's like a 3.5.
Okay.
I think it fits what has been aired so far and what is coming up. I think I finally have an idea about what is average-ish. Suits, I mean, I'll give it a 4.9 because there were some valid complaints on social media when I got home tonight that didn't faze me when I watched it, but or well, I just didn't care enough to pay attention to those parts. um, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I think it was still very very strong going in with this final season. A lot. I feel like there's a lot that's been very very strong.
I was expecting Suits to really pack a punch. Like, I thought that was going to be the episode we were going to walk away from, like, really the beginning of the end, right? In a good way. Because we have Mike
Mm-hmm.
returning, we have, we're in the home stretch. We often notice with Suits when it gets into the back half of the season, everything kind of picks up speed and everything kind of picks up momentum. They take their time setting up, and then they bam, in the last few they kind of pick it up. But I thought that was going to start this week, especially with Mike coming back, and it did to an extent. But
Mm-hmm.
I think what we saw with Suits was that Mike was introduced, but all of the setup was really still happening. They weren't quite hitting that stride of we're going down towards the end. It's still sort of we're really, really, really painting this picture for you. I know in the chat, Hessa says 5 for Mike, but I give a 3.8. Sasha says it was so underwhelming for me. Suits was a 3 out of 5 for Katrina, otherwise a 2.5 out of 5. Now, I will say, I'm with Sasha. I loved Katrina's storyline. I thought that was really fun and a good way to wrap up the hanging pieces left with her and Brian and give her some real development. Now, you and I have been talking about the fact that we think Katrina could run this firm in her sleep and may very well do so, but they really focused this week on Katrina outside of the firm. And likewise, you saw Lewis outside of the firm, and we saw Harvey in the firm, but maybe more detached from winning than we've seen in a while. How are you feeling about that?
Whew, boy. All right. I don't care about Lewis and Sheila inside the firm, outside the firm, or well, I like Lewis in the firm most of the time. Katrina, like I have to say, um, there were so many things about that, and the one that I've harped on, like Amanda is a ballerina, like she was
Mm-hmm.
a professional dancer before she did this. I have been waiting, as much as they always have all these Lewis Lit loves ballet lines and everything else, I have been waiting for them to do ballet with Katrina. So when she came to Don and was like, I'm going to take ballet class, that shrieking you heard about a week ago, midday on Wednesday, that was me because I saw that. And I have to say, like, I really liked her scene with Donna, and probably not for reasons that, I mean, well, yes, because Donna, but also I really feel like we don't get into a lot how, the whole, oh, fix your troubles, your relationship troubles by just like hooking up with somebody. Like that seems to often be advice that women get.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody really is about that life.
Right.
Which it's fine if you are. Like no, but there are some of us that I think that's probably the worst advice you could give to. And
Mm-hmm.
Katrina is very clearly somebody who has, she's somebody relatable in the aspect of that wasn't the advice to give. And so it was
Right.
really nice seeing that kind of character, especially because in fact Katrina could run this firm in her sleep. And also, like, you don't usually get that, and when you do, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that person is awful or weird, and Katrina is. So I honestly, like, really, really, really love that. And yeah, Harvey. The thing about him is, first of all, he was happy to have his boy back, obviously, but I think when everything came to a head at the end, the big issue was he had missed Mike and wanted Mike for something other than a fight. And instead, he got a fight, and not only did he get a fight, but there's this third party involved in it, so it's not even like the good old days. And wait, he can't even do the types of things he is not as interested. And also, if he does anything remotely wrong, he's screwed. Like,
It
I
was
think that was a
interesting, I
nice
think,
kind
seeing
of
Mike
thing.
brought in, sorry, because I think this kind of
Mm-hmm.
ties to what you're saying. I think it was interesting seeing Mike brought in going somewhat against Sam, because when we see them face off, initially I was like, oh, I mean, we kind of want to see our OG crew. I want to see Mike maybe face off against Katrina, or want to see Mike and Donna reunite. And it's not, by the way, that I just wanted to see the bros. I just wanted to see Harvey and
Mm-hmm.
Mike. Not at all. Frankly, I'm maybe one of the least invested people in that bromance. I think it's cool, but it's not like, oh my god, like Harvey and Mike are like friends again. Like, love it, but like I'm here for the ladies half the time. But when we saw Katrina, or sorry, not Katrina, when you saw Sam be brought in, I could see kind of what they were doing with that. They were trying to set up, here's our past ethical, issue and our current ethical issue. How are they going to fare? Is the past ethical issue who developed a loyalty to the firm and to the family, right? And the new one who we're not so sure about her loyalty, are they going to go separate directions? Are they going to end up the same direction? So I can see what they're going with that. I think it's a misstep only insofar as this is a short season and it's a little too late to try to like draw some cool parallels in with new characters. We only have a few episodes left. They're not really going to be able to play that out that long. I don't think it's not. I don't think it doesn't necessarily lack like entertainment value. Like, oh my god, it's so boring and they're not gonna have time to do it. It's just if we had had a full season, that would have paid off better. Because we only have a few more episodes left, I would have preferred to see Mike be brought in under some sort of crisis to help and or maybe demonstrate loyalty to the firm without having another person kind of parallel it. I don't know. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point. I was just happy to see him. There were a lot of like 12-year-old jokes that they made with each other that the show, they've tried to put those in other people's mouths and it's never worked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the two people that needed to be playing off of each other like that, and that was the foundational relationship and the foundational kind of thrust of the series, were Harvey and Mike. Um, I think this show kind of grew out of what it was planned to be in terms of obviously the appeal has never been to Harvey and Mike, But for show to be ending and to bring somebody back that was such an integral part of the, like, I mean, he was the original premise.
Mm-hmm.
um I was just happy to see them being dumb together, like. And I think the nice thing about it is some of those types of jokes, like Harvey Sphincter, kind of got old after a while when they were all the time. But seeing them when there's been that lack, especially having such great delivery and such on-screen chemistry between Gabriel and Patrick, like it was just, to me, I don't even care. Like, he was back. Like, he could have been back to serve a real prison term or something, or he could have been back just to tell Harvey what an idiot he was, which I loved that part. Like, that was the best part, really, was that whole conversation. Obviously, it was really nice to see Mike kind of as a mouthpiece for the viewers too, in some places.
In his reaction to Harvey and Donna getting together, I
Yeah.
thought that was adorable. So that was the one thing, that's maybe one of my biggest gripes with the show. And obviously, I love the show, otherwise I wouldn't be on here. 11:20 after falling asleep earlier. Coming on to I know it's been a long week, okay, but we're here,
Mm.
we're awake, we love it. I think my biggest gripe has always been that certain the big character development storylines. So Jessica getting her own firm, Harvey and Donna getting together, Rachel getting storylines that are written for her and not just for all of
Mm-hmm.
those were delayed so far to where we didn't have the right characters around to react to them. We didn't have enough time to really explore them. So with Harvey and Donna getting together, we had Lewis's reaction, and that's pretty much it. We don't know how Jessica felt. We're never going to get to see how Rachel felt. And here, at least, we got to see a little bit with Mike, and that was nice. We got a
Mm-hmm.
very short mention of Rachel. How did you feel about that?
Meh. I mean,
Yeah,
it was.
fair enough.
I think it didn't really stand out. I think they've done a few times now where they've kind of name dropped her, or Donna's been leaving a message or something. Um, they're doing the best with what they have.
Yeah, I
I
like
don't
that
think.
they had Rachel save that like baby onesie for Lewis, because
Yeah.
Rachel and Lewis's friendship was always one that was easily one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it spoke back to the family idea. I may utterly loathe everything about Lewis and Sheila and whatever that mess is,
Right
but
there with you.
the rest of the family's kind of reaction to Lewis getting what he thinks he deserves out of life. He deserves so much better. But Lewis is going to be a dad. He's always wanted to be a dad to not just cats but also people. Um, so I really liked, it was very cute and emotional, kind of Mike giving him that gift, and bringing Rachel's name into it. It made sense. It just wasn't like OMG Rachel, because we don't have an OMG Rachel anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but
In the chat, Hessa said she liked the Lewis lit stuff, and she loved the friendship between Donna and Katrina. Sasha loved Alex and Katrina, Donna, Katrina, Katrina, Brian. It was also amazing. Shiamo rates the episode a 2.75, agrees it was underwhelming, but Sasha points out she did love how they showed Donna not being completely right with
mm,
Katrina. So I like that because I like when Donna's not written like a robot. I like when she's written as being nearly always right. I like when she's written as being miles above everyone else, because she is. But I like acknowledging that she's not just a trope or a machine, that she's a real person with character development. She's got strengths and weaknesses, all of
mhm,
that. And in this area with Katrina, Katrina was not Rachel. And we saw Donna operate with her the way she would operate with Rachel. And Katrina is very different. And and that was nice to see that they weren't just trying
Mm-hmm.
to sub one female out for the other, because they kind of could have gone that route with Rachel. They could have shown Rachel being a badass in similar ways, or they could have gone that way with Katrina. I'm sorry, they could have shown her being a badass in similar ways that Rachel was, and kind of lost some of the aspects of Katrina that make her Katrina, which is the, you know, extremely detail oriented type A, needs to learn more about herself and not just what's on paper, former ballerina. So, anyways, I love Katrina, and my little wish list is for Katrina to have some little ballet recital that Sam attends. No one asked me, but there's my opinion.
Also, shout out to Twitter user at suits_USA. Where's my can opener? Just throwing that in there, guys.
Can we
Um,
can we get Shana a can opener for the
like,
love of God?
like, who social media is this show more than me? I count shit and recap and do this. Come on, guys. Where's my can? No. Anyway, yeah, it was really nice that I feel like they actually even played the scene a little bit where Donna was trying to fill a gap. And that was a little bit of how she managed to misstep so badly with Katrina because she and Rachel are wildly different folks. Um,
Yeah.
wildly different. Um,
They've really created some distinct roles for women to their credit. They've kept Rachel and Katrina separate. They've kept Donna and Jessica separate. They have these distinct roles, which I think is nice. And I think it's something that they are maintaining as well on Pearson. We are seeing very distinctly different women on there, and men as well. I just don't pay attention to men, but that's fine. If you came here for character analysis on men, you'll get very little of it. Unpopular opinion, just transitioning very briefly to Pearson. I won't take too much time on Pearson for tonight, but I am really warming up to Carrie, seeing her flashbacks, but I don't think she's a very well liked character. I'm surprised I'm even liking any character when the only reason I came on watching this show is to worship at Gina Torres's feet, and I do spend the majority of my time doing that. But Carrie, I think, presents an interesting, I'm going to use the term, and I say this with respect, an unworthy adversary for Jessica. There's
mhm,
nothing worthy about Carrie in working alongside or fighting Jessica. And yet we've
mhm.
seen Carrie both work alongside and fight Jessica. And I like that we're seeing Jessica work with the unworthy. How do you feel about that? Are you on the same page or do you hate Carrie?
I mean, first of all, nobody's worthy. So, I mean, yeah, I
Fair.
agree with that. Yeah, Carrie poses an interesting challenge for a few reasons. One, I mean, our first meeting with her was, first of all, a different actor. Second of all, really, she was the big bad. She did the bad things that ultimately made it so that Jessica couldn't pick up her life in Chicago the way she'd intended to,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the whole, law degree issue or law license, whatever it is. I don't know. The technical stuff escapes me. I'm a mathematician and a dancer and whatever else, but not that. But she is, and you see it in this episode a lot, actually. She's somebody who, in spite of all that, Jessica clearly has some respect for. And that I think, if you took Jessica out of the picture, which then there would be no show. But if you
Right.
looked
If you take
at,
Jessica out of the picture, you take me out of the picture.
yeah, I mean, if you looked at Carrie for without someone like Jessica as the star, as the foil, as the, most people are here, Jessica is woo woo. I think she would be quite interesting. The problem that kind of continues to be an issue with this show, but luckily not to as large of an extent coming up, I don't believe, is that Jessica just so far is not in the same realm as
Right.
any one, any character, anything. Um, I don't know if that
You
answers your
see that a
question
bit as
really,
well with
but
Jessica
that's.
interacting with her assistant, right? When you see Jessica
Mm-hmm.
interacting with other coworkers, even with the mayor, there's just she's got this element where she's so far above where they are, and I think with the mayor, there's an element of it that I feel is not overdone to the point where I don't want to see it, but I've seen this dynamic with Jessica before, where there's some supposedly powerful man. You know, he's powerful in title, he's powerful in, political, legal, whatever creed, but he holds no candle to her, and she can run
Mm-hmm.
circles around him, and she can control his life in the palm of her hand. It's a
Excuse
fun
me.
dynamic, but it's not new.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing her work with her assistant, likewise, it's someone who is green, who needs some shaping, who needs some help and support, but could be a fabulous woman given the chance, right? And we've seen that as well before for Jessica. We've seen her go up against people who are not her equals but are masqueraded to be her equals. So if
Mm-hmm.
you remember the Game of Thrones season of Suits where everybody in the world from Game of Thrones shut up, they brought in, I think, multiple
Uh,
very powerful
uh,
women. You know what I mean? And they tried to make them out to be
uh,
Jessica's equal. And we didn't necessarily buy them as Jessica's equal, but that's what they were supposed to be, right? She was supposed to have sort of met her match.
uh,
That one, as you remember, who like criticized Jessica's dress and was saying like, "Oh, this is how whatever." You know what I'm talking about. Here, they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to masquerade. There's someone who's met Jessica's match, but then who can meet her. Word for word, but it's an interesting. This is someone who can make some rash, dumb decisions and cause a lot of problems, like having an affair with a married mayor. So I don't know, something about the setup I think is unique
Hmm.
and interesting. And as always, I am continually getting wrapped further into Jessica's family as a key point that's making me watch the show. But we are not almost, we are out of time for this week, but I want to give you some wrap up thoughts because we are dead center now. We have done 5 episodes of these 10 episodes. How are you feeling and what do you want to see in the next 5 episodes for both shows?
At me with a can opener. No.
Fair.
Is, Suits is I don't know. I just don't want it to end. And I really would like people to stop filming confidential work product and sharing it. But that's what I'd like to see for the rest of Suits, actually. Stop having things sent without approval or context. Um, for Pearson, I'm not going to say anything because I know what's coming. But if I were to be like honest about Suits story wise, I really want an ending that acknowledges that, you know, happily ever after isn't real, but
Mm,
that does not leave these people we've been invested in for 9 seasons in a terrible place either. I think my best example, I don't know if I referred to this before, maybe ER, and the very end of ER was for me kind of how you should end a show, or even Buffy too, to an extent, but not quite, since that's not a real world show, but ER more was, you know,
mm-hmm.
life goes on. These people are still gonna, like, leaving the idea that these people still exist and are just gonna keep living their lives without any,
Mm-hmm.
you know, shocker, terrible things just for the sake of doing something surprising.
Yeah, that I think makes a lot of sense. This concept that they don't die when the show dies, I think is
Mm-hmm.
It's smart, it's interesting. The idea that they don't die when the firm dies or when their work dies is a concept that is maybe more of a struggle, but just as interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they've developed these characters to the point where you and I frequently joke that we would watch some sitcom of Harvey and Donna baking together, or of,
Mm-hmm.
Mike and Katrina running around causing trouble somewhere, whatever. But this idea that they legitimately could, they won't, but they could have these sort of law firm-less lives
Mm-hmm.
in some sort of spin-off that won't happen, but we can believe that they're existing off running theater companies or a yoga boxing studio and being fine. I think that's an interesting concept. I could agree with you on that. I know we are over time, so thank you everyone for sticking with us and joining along tonight. If you have any other thoughts or predictions or things you'd like to see in these last 5 episodes, definitely drop a comment below on this video and chat with each other as well. I noticed last week we had a bit of a spike in after airing viewership. I think we were at like 450 viewers or something, which for a show like Suits is kind of a lot, I think, for our little after show. So thank you to those of you joining us after the fact. Feel free to come chat with us. And Shayna, we've got 5 more. It's crazy.
That just depressed me. I mean, I'm laughing about it because what else? I don't want to sit here and cry, but that's
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. It's kind of wild. It's sad, but
It's
it's wild. It's been wild for me thinking about how many years of my life I've been watching this show. I've been watching it since it first started airing, and I was a baby, and I'm now grown up. So yeah,
yes,
we'll
indeed.
save that for the final episode though.
Are we gonna just like cry for like an hour after the final one? Is that how the show's
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
go? Is
just
that
have
what
like a
we're?
whole hour-long episode being like, I was 18 and now I'm all grown up.
Oh
Please bring
God.
your tissues and wine to our final show, and cookie dough and can openers, and we'll have a party. But
Yes,
for this week,
at
I'm
us
gonna,
with can openers.
yes, send Shayna
Ah,
specifically a can opener. I, for one, have an entire house full of Suits merchandise of every kind, including apparently Mike's messenger bag from season 1 and a life-size cutout of Jessica. So I'll take a can opener, but send it Shayna's way. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
please.
Bye.